Is this on? Is this on? Well, thank you very much for having me. I've become good friends with Bob. He is a consummate professional. He's probably one of the hardest working guys in the business, and he works tirelessly to make sure that the partners he represents get the value that they expect, and sometimes even more so. For Maverick, our relationship, it wasn't a huge budget for us, but he made it feel like it was a big part of what we were doing. And so, hats off to you, Bob. You're fantastic. He is. Am I in the way? I am in the way. I hate staying around a lectern because I feel like a professor, and I want to be a professor. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about is remarkable branding and what that means. And I mean remarkable in a very literal way. Worth talking about. Remarkable. And it's really easy to get caught into doing what everybody else does because that's what everybody else is doing and it's safe. But the problem is if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're not going to stand out. So I'm going to be talking about different brands that do remarkably well in their advertising and branding. And I also want to talk to you a little about Maverick's brand and how it evolved. I no longer work for Maverick. I started their rebrand in 2001. 10 years later, they hired me full-time to be their marketing director, and I worked there for 8 years and just left last October so I can consult and work on my own personal projects full-time. So Earnburn is a nickname my twin brother gave me when I was like really little, and he's called me Earnburn forever. And so I thought, when I was rebranding myself, leaving Maverick, I didn't want to be called 8-Fish because that would suggest there's more than me. And it's a creative, kind of out there kind of a concept. So Earnburn is about me. And in my brand, it's about helping people ignite their remarkable brand. So, and I've discovered in 25 years of advertising and marketing experience, I found that as I've consulted with brands to help them find out who they truly are, I'm a therapist. I become a therapist because invariably I'll ask people, this is the most important question, hey, what makes you different? What makes you special? And they say, it's our people. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not your people. But I hear that a ton. Oh, it's our people. Probably not. Because if your people are just as special as their people, and their people, doesn't make you special. But if you have a really cool process and a culture that trains those people to be empowered, okay, now it's your people, but it's not your people. It's your process. It's your culture. And then you can put a great person in there, and they can thrive. But what makes you different isn't your people. It's deeper. It's your process and culture that you develop. So I basically, as a brand therapist, I ask the hard questions to uncover what makes a business truly unique and truly special. And then I use my marketing expertise to develop the language, the verbal and visual language, to communicate that difference to the customer, their customer, in a very remarkable way. Okay? So I love chocolate cake. Love chocolate cake. I like making chocolate cake because when you make it, it's always available, right? So chocolate cake requires ingredients to be delicious. It requires butter and flour and loads of sugar and eggs. You just can't make great chocolate cake without it, all right? Well, branding is very similar. You need to have the right ingredients to make a great brand. And I remember I was talking to an executive at Maverick who was in charge of finances. And they were saying, Ernie, I am Maverick's biggest fan. I love what Maverick does. I love what you do for the brand. But do you really need to do X, Y, or Z? Do you need to really paint the ceilings blue and then create a 360-degree mural in our stores? Do you really need that? Do you really need to partner with Red Bull and stuff like that? And these things are kind of expensive at times, right? So why do you do this? I love the brand, but don't do these things. That's like saying, I love chocolate cake, but I really don't like all the sugar you put in it. You know, we just cut back on the sugar, and eggs aren't good for you anymore. They go through that cycle of they're great for you, they're bad for you, they're great for you, they're bad for you. And right now, and by the way, the flour, you know, we need to do something different than flour. But I love your cake, but make it different. You can't. It requires ingredients. So I'm going to outline 6 ingredients to help you bake a remarkable brand. Okay, now the first one is to understand what makes you different, what makes you unique. This is one of the most difficult things because it requires real deep analysis. I'm going to share with you, one of my clients is a company called Seaforce. It's a water company. Okay, in water, if you're branding water, there is very little difference between the product itself. In fact, the difference is so minute, it's measured in the parts per million. Okay? The difference your business has with your competitor is probably much greater than water. All right? Well, the owner of this company said, our water, when it was sourced, was super pure. We want to talk about the purity of our water. And I'm like, So how many of you people drink bottled water? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everybody. If you didn't raise your hand, you're just lazy. Okay? How many of you feel that purity is important in water? Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm going to pick on you, okay, because everybody knows you. Can you stand up real quick? What is your favorite bottled water? Fiji. Awesome. You're fancy. See how he did that? He's associated now with this paradise. We look at him differently now. Okay, if he was said like Costco or Kirkland brand, we would have thought, he's just average. Okay, so you've just positioned yourself as a cool guy. So, so you think purity is important, right? Yeah. What is the total dissolved solid content of Fiji water?
Not a clue.
Not a clue, but it's important to you, right?
I think it came from the Fijian aquifers.
It came from a Fijian aquifer. Awesome, thank you. Go ahead and sit down. But I think everybody assumes, we all say that purity is really important. But we assume that once it's in the bottle and it's gone through FDA or whatever, it's pure enough, right? It's pure enough. Because nobody knows what their calcium content and magnesium content is in the water they drink. And that's what makes it pure or impure. All right? So I'm like, okay, purity is really important to you. Let's review your brand attributes. Seaforce. What are your brand attributes? Okay, origin. Okay, where are you from? Navasota, Texas. Oh, wow. Nothing says refreshment like Navasota. If you haven't been there, there's nothing there. Nothing is there. Like, you pass a house, and then it's like 10 minutes later, you pass another house, and there's nothing. So Navasota's not going to do it. Like Fiji, it's like, oh, I can see. That sounds refreshing. Okay, so Navasota, Texas, it's got this purity level. Oh, it comes from a sustainable aquifer. Is that remarkable? Not really, not really. It's like, it comes from a spring. It comes from whatever. Those things are all like, they're just average. It's not remarkable. Okay, how about, it comes from Chuck Norris's ranch. Okay? Okay, powerful stuff. In fact, when I first heard that Seaforce comes from Chuck Norris's ranch, I thought, if I drink it, will I be imbued with Chuck Norrisness? Because I will pay top dollar for that. Okay? I can just imagine him laying in a trough where the water rushes over him and pulls out his essence. I will drink that water. And I said, well, I think Chuck Norris is your biggest brand attribute, your biggest unique selling proposition. No other brand of water has that. Let's talk about it. Oh, we do. We have that. Oh, it's right here. By Chuck Norris. That's his signature. And I'm like, okay, I open the fridge at a convenience store, and I look for bottled water. I'm not going to see it. I'm just not going to see it. And so I said, let's change your packaging a little bit. Just give me a little taste of Chuck Norris. And so we just put a little illustration of Chuck Norris on the top so that people, when they open it, go, oh, it's Chuck Norris. What the heck is this? And it becomes the hook that gets them to experiment on the product. Okay? Without that unique selling proposition, you don't know what to market. You don't know what to advertise. You don't know what messaging to create. So this is their billboard. Purity is C-Force. Now, Gina Norris, Chuck, by the way, his real name isn't Chuck. It's Carlos. So at the ranch, we call him Carlos. When we talk about him as a character, we call him Chuck. We talk to like Chuck as a third person. What was it like being Chuck? What's that? What's that? He's actually like 78 years old, barely hear anything. But he's super strong, by the way, still to this day, super strong. I said, well, if I'm driving by on the street and I see this billboard, Purity is here, or Purity has arrived, or whatever, I'm like, so? So what? Is that compelling? Is that remarkable? Am I going to say, oh my gosh, did you see the Purity billboard? That is so cool. And so I had an illustration made of like, what if we do this? And that's something I go, oh my gosh, I'm going to share that with my friend. That becomes remarkable. Number 2 ingredient is to define your target customer. Because if you don't know who you are trying to reach, I mean specifically, if you don't know who you're trying to reach, how do you craft a message that will hook them? Fishermen, raise your hand if you fish. Does it really matter what you're fishing for, or do you just throw any bait on the line? It really matters. It matters very, very much. So know who you're fishing for so that you can craft the bait or the lure that gets them to come. If you know what you're fishing for, you also know what ponds to fish in. Where do you market? What media, what advertising media do you use to reach that customer? The best thing to do is to kind of create a profile or an avatar that says, this is our customer. Now, when you focus on that customer, you're going to naturally get other people, because it's not possible to actually target someone so specifically that they're the only people that see the message. All right? Who do you think Maverick targets? Men or women? Men. Men, right? Maverick, the convenience store. Is everybody familiar with Maverick convenience store? Okay, because we have plenty of them around here, right? So typically men, and here's why. The products that we sell that make us unique are appealing to men more so than women. Burritos, soda pop, okay? Chew, beer, whatever. I'm telling you what, it's like dudes walk in, they're like going, no problem. Energy drink? I'm all in, right? I'm going to grab 3 Red Bull, a Monster. I need a water too because I need a little bit of hydration, right? A burrito, and they walk out and they're like, this is like breakfast, right? A woman walks in. I'm stereotypical, but it happens a lot. They come in and they look at the donut and they walk away. They look at the donut again. They walk away. Actually, one time we saw a lady that came in, grabbed a donut, and went around the back of the store. We're like, what the heck is going on here? She's hiding to eat her donut. We thought, is there something nefarious going on here? What is she going to hook something up? Is there a drug thing going on? Nope, eating a donut. Okay. Would a dude go to the back? I don't want anybody seeing me eat my donut. Nope, not a problem. In fact, they're probably proud of it. All right. So knowing who your customer is allows you to market to them in a unique way. Okay. Target them. Identify your core beliefs. Now, the reason this is so important is it guides the things that you do. Once you've defined what your core belief is, you're able to then be authentic to your personality. Maverick, A core belief of Maverick is that adventure elevates life. That is core to Maverick. Every executive, everybody that works in Maverick goes, that's true, that's true. You send challenged teens on adventures to get them in gear. That's how powerful adventure is. You have tear-jerking, emotionally powerful experiences in adventure, all right? You know what's great about you guys? You guys are actually in the adventure business. I sell gas and nachos, okay? You guys actually create that experience. And so Maverick was like, so we created this lens through which, this adventure brand lens through which every tactic that we employed, every marketing message, every image we created went through this adventure lens. A good idea, and I'll show you a version of or an opportunity that we passed up because it was not in this adventure lens. Great idea, let's not do it. That's a great vocabulary, by the way, to have. Oh, that's a really good idea, let's not do it. Okay? The Four Seasons, love theirs. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. And it guides everything that they do. We want to treat you, if I want to be treated like a gentleman, I'm going to treat you like a gentleman. And they create training programs to help instill that level of service. All right? Outline your vision. One of the things I love about a vision is that it's aspirational. Hopefully you'll never reach it because it guides the things you do. Maverick is, if our belief is adventure elevates life, then our vision is to bring adventure into everyday life. When you walk into a Maverick store, we want you to walk into the great outdoors. That's why we create the environment that we do. When you pull up on the lot, we want the store to look like a cabin or a lodge or something like that. And so over the years, you've seen this transition from the old Western saloon-style stores to an adventure-y lodge kind of a feel. All right? Nike is they want to inspire and innovate for athletics and great athleticism. They celebrate that. So, and they say, anybody with a body is an athlete. That's cool. That's kind of inspiring. And if you like athletics, Nike would be a great place for you to work because it's part of your vision. It's a shared common vision. All right. Once you have those things those ingredients laid down, choose adjectives that describe your brand so that you can use them to guide your messaging. They guide your visual references. And so at Maverick, it's outdoorsy. It's exciting, out of the box, off the trail, things like that. All right? Not friendly, clean, convenient, because every convenience store on the planet wants to be friendly, clean, and convenient. I've consulted with several convenience stores. And we are the friendliest convenience store. I'm like, how do you evaluate that? How do you know that? You know, do you guys have like a friendometer? We're super friendly. Apples, Apples is intuitive, beautiful, clean. They just and when you open up an Apple product or use one, it is true to those adjectives. Those choices help you choose and direct you to the types of visual textures and patterns that you use in your packaging, in your marketing, your website backgrounds, your brochures, your car wraps, your whatever it is you're marketing. So Mavericks, we had two different types. One was very natural, wood, distressed wood, burlap, leather. We also had high-tech materials like carbon fiber, anodized aluminum, Gore-Tex. And we would create our packaging and marketing materials using those types of materials. Now, Monster Energy, theirs is very urban. So they use a black and white or a grayish color palette, and they throw in their neon green. I was able to go to Monster headquarters in California, and before they brought in any furniture, they had cement floors, and they brought in their pro bikers to do donuts and lay black rubber all over the floors. And then they brought in and put their furniture. And as you walk around, you go, man, that's so cool. how expensive was that? How hard was that? It's probably a little bit more expensive than just painting or whatever, but not that much. But the brand inspired a tactic to create a surface that was congruent with their brand, the choices they made in their brand, to create an experience for people to walk in and go, okay, you guys are drinking your own Kool-Aid. Monster, I mean. Okay? And then develop those, using those, that vocabulary or the adjectives that describe your brand, the textures. Now start to kind of compile those things, those ingredients together to develop images. Now, Monster uses these crazy visuals that are all about energy and kind of just off-the-wall stuff that's memorable or remarkable. Now, you guys are familiar with this one, right? Okay, craziest thing in the world. Do they know who their customer is? Yeah. Oh, yeah. They knew. Because dudes go, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in, man. And I've shot enough TV commercials to know they're not eating your burgers. And dudes know they're not eating their burgers, but they wish for it. I want to eat a burger with this girl, you know? So it creates an emotional connection with their customer. They know how to reach that customer, all right? And then at Maverick, we wanted to create a feeling of adventure. So we try to put our products into outdoor adventure environments when we shoot, okay? All righty. Another ingredient is topography, text. The reason Chick-fil-A's writing looks like this is because cows ride it. And their story is, don't eat us, eat chickens. Maverick uses bold, distressed fonts that look like they may have tumbled down a mountain. Then develop vocabulary. What words or phrases do you use to help reinforce that brand? Final step is to mix well. Take all these things, stick to those ingredients, and execute them consistently over and over and over again to your target customer in ways that are remarkable. Be creative. So I'm going to show you how Maverick's process. And by the way, someone in the back needs to yell at me when I've got 10 minutes left. Otherwise, I'll just do this for hours. Okay? So in 2001, Maverick was known as Maverick Country Stores. Everything they did was country western, and they did a really, really good job about it. Okay? This is what it looked like. Their vocabulary was right on. Up here in the top right-hand corner, it says, get your canned pop ice cold from our big tub. Okay? Even their vocabulary was very western. It centered around the Maverick man, a cowboy that would save the day. All right? Their architecture was influenced by this brand. Really well-done brand, but it was beginning to lose relevance to the customer. Okay? This is what the stores looked like on the outside. This has actually been painted since then. But you remember seeing these stores, right? Interior, they kind of look like this. Very nondescript, uninspired. But it was part of their original brand of being very economical. Prices were very low, and I remember doing a campaign for them very, very early on about big-time values where they'd have large bags of products sold really, really cheap, and the products weren't that great. All right? Well, the marketing marketing VP at the time, one of the owners, one of the family members of the business, hated the cowboy brand. He's from Afton, Wyoming, hated it. He goes, we need a new brand. We need a refreshed brand. And so I had growing up in Idaho and Utah, I knew the country store. That's how I knew it. And so I remember a meeting with Brad Call. He was the VP of marketing. I remember having lunch with him, and he was saying, hey, I want this new brand. And I was still thinking, yeah, we'll have the Maverick man come out, and he's like, 6 shooters going. And he's like, nope, it's not what I want. For an hour, I'm still thinking cowboy. And an hour later, I'm convinced that he thought I had no idea what he was talking about. An hour later, I figured out, I think I know what he's talking about. The heart of Maverick's brand is about being unique. It's about being a maverick, to be on your own, to be powerfully independent, and to be outside. And so I brought my team together, and I said, we have this opportunity to work for to rebrand one of the coolest and biggest businesses in our area. What's unique about, starting now with number one, what is unique about this convenience store? Or what can we make unique about this convenience store? And so we talked about why we go to convenience stores. And every one of us said, you know, I always go to a convenience store on my way to go skiing, fishing, hiking. When I'm about to go do something, to go snowmobiling, I fill up the car with fuel, I get some snacks and goodies, some drinks, and then I go to my adventure. And we thought, I wonder if this is unique to our group, or that feeling is shared by a lot of people. And as we looked at Utah, the heart of Maverick, we know that, just like you guys know, this is the heart of adventure. This is where people play across the world. This is the playground for the world. And all kinds of activities can be had here. And so we came up with this idea. What if we branded Maverick as the place you begin your adventure? This is the first stop on your way to adventure. And we came up with the tagline, Adventure's First Stop. And that phrase became that lens through which we viewed every marketing tactic. And how can we bring that brand slogan to life? Because it might be a great little phrase, but unless it's visualized, unless it's like executed really well, it won't mean anything. So here's what we did. We said, let's change the store. So when you walk into a store, you're walking into the great outdoors. Let's change it so that it's not so cluttered and it's a little more organized. Another thing we did is we made the outside look more like lodges. All right? Now this took lots of time. I'm showing you like lots of iterations over. It takes a while to build a brand. It really does. And when I work with clients, I tell them, look, your customers aren't going to see a change for about a year or two, but you need to work on it now. It takes time to do. Even the sweepstakes prizes we come up with are adventure related or adventure filtered. Most people would be happy to get a new dryer and washer set. It's usable, totally usable, right? Or a kitchen makeover. Totally, I'd love that. But if we did a kitchen makeover or a massage package or whatever, it's like, that weakens our brand. Branding, when you partner with people in branding, a little bit of their brand rubs off on you, and you rub off on them. Law of transference. Okay? By association, we strengthen or weaken each other. We partnered up with a content provider, social media content provider that had a large following. He produced video content of him and his dog doing really fun adventures that we used on our social media platform and also on our in-store TV. A beautiful arrangement. We helped pay for his fuel, and we helped cover some adventures if he ever needed any. We actually hooked him up with Bob and said, hey, go do some adventures down south. Our brand, the Maverick Adventure brand, was strong enough that we actually had Red Bull to be able to create an association with Red Bull. Red Bull Rampage, you guys' backyard, okay? It is Red Bull's biggest, highest investing event that they do all year around the world. This is their biggest thing. And because Maverick shared their values and shared their brand attributes, they said, we want you to join us. So we were there. We spent probably $3,000 in swag packages, Maverick swag packages, and brought in like flags and stuff like that so that we could be with like the cool guy, the cool kid on the block. You know, we were eating at the lunch table where the cool people were eating for a little while. And as a result, customers who really liked Red Bull and loved that adventurous brand thought, ooh, Maverick is also now cool because we had that association. We celebrated other people's adventures. And we post their adventures. Now, notice I am not talking about fuel, product. I'm not talking about product. I'm not talking about how comfortable our beds are. If I were one of you guys, I'm not talking about how comfortable our beds are. I'm not talking about the free breakfast. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the heart of the brand that resonates with the customer. They're not coming to your place because they want to sleep. They want to have an experience. What experience that's remarkable are you going to bring to them? And it can be tiny. I remember the first time I stayed at a DoubleTree and I had cookies. That's pretty cool. Cookies made the big difference to me. It doesn't need to be very big. It just needs to be remarkable. It needs to be different. So this was about the girl in the backpack has Down syndrome. And the mom did a video and started blogging about how she went on hikes with her daughter because her daughter loved it. We saw this post, and they said, oh, yeah, sometimes we stop at Maverick. We stopped at Maverick to pick something up. So we sent our video crew down to talk to her, and we ended up taking them on an adventure and filmed it, and it's beautiful. So we celebrated her love of adventure. We didn't say, well, hey, you know what? Can you make sure, that you have Maverick backpack and Maverick. No, we just wanted to celebrate their adventure. And as a result, our customers end up liking us more. They appreciated our relationship, all right? And when you think about social media, this is our post. I just took a screenshot from our Instagram. Okay, you saw a whole bunch of pictures there. How many of them had product in it? One. And it doesn't say $9.99. It doesn't have a price point. Social media is one of the biggest relationship builders. And when we started social media, when we started it, it was like, well, what do we post? We have to okay, hot dogs are on coffee or whatever. We're selling all the time. And it's like bringing a friend over to the house, and all they do is sell you stuff. How many of you have like a MLM friend? Okay? That's what it's like. Do you still have that MLM friend? Do you bring them over much? No, because they're always selling you. They're always selling you. You're a brand too. Are you always selling? Are you always selling the product? Or are you saying, I love what you love. I care about what you care about. Because when you have that emotional connection, you go, I like you, and I want to do business with you. The people that Maverick did business with loved adventure, and they happened to be hungry or thirsty, or they needed fuel. But they chose Maverick because of the shared connection we had, that we created, all right? Maverick wasn't just a utility. All other convenience stores are a utility. Their marketing platform is buy a corner and get the traffic. Maverick has 20% of all convenience store locations in our market. We have 25% of the business. Why? Because we're convenient? We're more convenient than somebody else? Nope. Because we created a preference for our core customer. We're not going to get the Chevron guy or the Chevron girl. All they do is they want fuel. And they want premium additive fuel. They believe in that, right? We're never going to get them. They wear business suits. And we're like, Chevron, you can have them. We want the people that rock, So here's one that didn't fit our adventure lens. We did a customer segmentation analysis and found we do attract women. We do. You know what? Guess what? Women like adventure too. Wow! They're badasses too. They want to go kayaking and climbing and all that kind of stuff. Cool. We celebrate that. Well, we need to reach more women, so we have an opportunity to go to the What Women Want show, where they do like jewelry and crafting and I'm like, I don't know, this doesn't really fit our brand. No, but we can reach that customer. I said, here's the problem. You get your 17-year-old son that went to Red Bull Rampage and is like, yeah, Maverick is awesome. He got a Maverick hat. And mom goes, you're coming with me to the What Women Want show. He's like, gosh, you got to be kidding me. At least I can wear my cool Maverick hat. You walk in to What Women Want show, and there's a Maverick kiosk, Maverick tent, and there's 2 women in their 50s serving up frozen yogurt. How quickly will that hat make it to the garbage can? Okay, it totally lost its pure relevance to the customer. Now the customer who loved Maverick now goes, you know what? They're just pandering to whomever. They don't really get me. And so it's essential that you understand your customer and you continually communicate with that customer using messages that they really care about. Don't try to pander to everybody. Convenience store people all the time. We know exactly who our customer is. We nailed them. They drive cars. Every one of them. Yep, every one of our customers drive cars. That's how when we target all of them. Like, oh, great. You don't target anybody. Except for, pedestrians, I guess, no? So this is What Women Want show, we say no to it, even if it's a great deal. I remember Chuck and Crystal Magalette, who bought Maverick about 4 or 5 years ago, donated $50,000 to the symphony. And I had a yelling match where we're going, I don't care if it's free. Maverick shouldn't be in there. We need to reach those people to drive to bring them into, they're our customers too. And I'm like, no way. I just don't understand your decision, Ernie. I just don't understand it. I'm like, I know. I can tell. But as a result, Maverick brand has created raving fans. We've been true to who we are, and so we create this who comes to an open house to buy, to get gas? No, they want to come and experience that adventure brand. So I'm going to show you real quickly, because I have 5 time. How much time do I have? However much I need. Thank you. You're the man. Okay. So I hope I'm going to give you 3 different examples, 3 different brands that I think are remarkable, and I want to ignite in you some brainstorming that helps you go, man, I can do remarkable things too. I can be remarkable. And like I said, it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be clever. It just has to be well thought out. Think about who your customer is and what will delight them. What will make them talk about you, all right? So we'll talk about Aviation Gym, GoDaddy, and 4 Seasons, okay? Aviation Gym, all right. So how many people drink gin here? Who drinks gin? All right, okay. Can you tell me what gin is made of?
Not all the ingredients.
Tell me some of them.
Juniper berries.
Juniper berries. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Juniper berries. How do you know it's made with juniper berries?
Because I took a tour of a distillery and they said it.
Okay, cool. Can you taste juniper berries in it? Does it taste juniper-y? I wouldn't know. Who else drinks gin? Someone over here, yeah. Goatee guy. What else is in there? Okay. What? Potatoes. I don't know. I know it's vodka. Do you drink gin? Okay. Does it taste potatoey? It's like, Idaho. This gin's from Idaho. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol, right? Why would I care about Aviation Gin? Because a friend of mine thought something they did was remarkable, worth talking about. And they sent me this video, all right? Well, first of all, the thing that makes Aviation Gin different is this dude, okay? Here's the cool thing. Girls want their guy to be like him, and guys wish they had the girls that he gets, all right? So if I can do anything to borrow some of his brand equity, I'm all in, all right? So he was very smart. He buys this gin company, and I didn't know anything about any gin brand before Ryan Reynolds comes along. But Ryan Reynolds, he looks at the gin, the process, and goes, I know what makes Aviation Gin special now. It's me. Okay? And I'm going to use me as the hook, my celebrity status as a hook, to generate enough interest so that I can tell people about my product's features. Okay? I'll show you this video, and it's clever how he uses a little bit of bad language. I've tried to edit a little bit of that out. Use a little bit his bad language, his self-effacing humor, and his personality to teach you about gin.
People come up to me all the time and they say, what makes aviation gin so delicious? Most of the time I run away because non-celebrities frighten me. But here is the answer. It begins each morning at 4 a.m. The distillers of Aviation American Gin rise to greet the new day with 4 hours of silent meditation. From there, it's a quick scoot down to the Grove. The citrus fruits are misted using only the tears of aviation's owner, me, Ryan Reynolds. All of our botanicals are humanely caught, cage-free, and grain-fed. The reason some people don't drink gin is that strong juniper taste. So, after apologizing to each berry individually, we beat the living hell out of them, creating a smoother, more refined finish. To ensure that heavenly taste, every bottle of Aviation is ordained by the Unitarian Church of Fresno, California. And then, before it departs home, serenaded with the healing music of Sarah McLachlan. Some might call this overkill, but the next time you visit your local mixologist and you murder that silky smooth Aviation martini, well, who's the killer now, asshole? Aviation, an American original. Now owned by a Canadian.
Isn't that fun? Okay. So, guy doesn't drink gin at all, gets a link sent to him, me. Now I know, okay, there's citrus in gin, there's juniper berries. It's kind of like it's made in craft batches, so there must be something like very unique and special about it. But I didn't know any of this unless something was remarkable enough about the ad, the humor, the personality, the silliness of it. If it wasn't that silly, it never would have forwarded to me. Now imagine if Ryan Reynolds would have said, you know what's really interesting about ours? We use grapefruit in the citrus. Let's do a video that talks about grapefruit and this distilling process, okay? And let's get, I'm really busy, and I know I'm not a big deal, so let's just get somebody to record a little cute message about how our process is made. And it's not remarkable at all. I never would have got it. How often do you, in your advertising and marketing, talk about your products and features solely? All of us? We do. It is so hard. It is super, super hard. It's easy for me to say, and it's easy to point other examples, but when you're working on your own brand, it's very, very challenging. So work with somebody, work with a colleague, working in a group like this, talk to each other. Hey, what do you think makes me special? You guys are lucky to have a forum like this. In advertising agencies don't talk to other advertising agencies. We just don't do that, all right? It'd be interesting to say, you know what I'm really jealous about in your business? This. And you guys kill it in this area. Really? You think we kill? Is that what you think makes us special? That's what I think. Okay. And if we start having that dialogue with each other and you grow each other, then here's the thing. You're not competing for the same customer. You're not. A traveler is not generic. A traveler is looking for specific things. Make sure you tell that traveler what makes you special so that you and that traveler can connect in a way that brings real value. Because if they think, oh, I'm just traveling, I'm going to go see Zions, it doesn't matter what bed I sleep in or what restaurant I eat at. Nope, it does to them. It makes a big difference. And if they have an experience that's spectacular because it was catered to them because you know who their customer is, they'll tell their friends about it. You'll be remarkable. But if you're trying to be so generic that you appeal to everybody, you'll be unremarkable. No one will care. It's really brave to do this. It's really hard. But when you do it, you go, we got the sweet spot. All right? So, next one is GoDaddy. Anybody have experience with GoDaddy? Okay. Register domain names with GoDaddy. I buy like WordPress thing and web builder and email things. You can add these little features on there. A few months later, I get a phone call from GoDaddy. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You want to sell me more stuff? He says, you know, I'm your account representative. I'm like, no, you can't be. I did it online. I didn't talk to anybody. You're a sales dude. And he said, you haven't used WordPress plugin, and it cost you this much a month. Can we take that off for you? I'm like, can you guys teach my cable company this? And my cell phone guy this? You're awesome. And then they go, well, what are you trying to do with your business? Well, now that you saved me some money, I'm going to tell you what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to sell this thing and this thing and this thing. Well, you know what? You'll need this feature. Are you ready for it yet? No, I'm not ready for it yet. Well, I'll call back in 3 months. You guys are awesome. Okay, this is customer engagement. Why have we lost that? We send emails. If you got a phone call from a company you did business with, you'd be like, hey, thank you. Do you want to call quickly and say, thank you for staying in our hotel last September, or eating in our restaurant, or whatever it is that you guys do. I want you to know how much we appreciate your business and hope you'll think of us next time. Okay, 45 seconds later, you just made somebody's day. And what will they do? They'll come back. They'll remark about it. It will be remarkable. How many of you write letters, thank you notes, to your clients? Beautiful, beautiful. It means something to them. And the reason you probably keep doing it is because people say, oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing. No one ever does that. Had an experience with the Four Seasons. Who's been to a Four Seasons resort? Okay, rich people. I'm not rich. I was invited to go. I piggybacked on somebody else's dime. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you about an experience. I had breakfast, and at breakfast, they served this fruit juice that was made from a local fruit. It was white. It's delicious. Chugging this fruit juice, right? At lunch, my wife and I were talking to our server next to the pool about, hey, what fruit is that? And he told us what the fruit was. I can't remember. It's foreign. And mangosteen? I don't know. Is it mangosteen? It was delicious. But anyway, we said, the server asked us if we'd like for him to prepare a frozen drink using the same fruit. Now, we don't drink alcohol. And we said, typically, frozen drinks are served with, I don't know, something in it. Gin, whatever. No, she's like, no, don't put juniper in there. Anyway, so we say, no, thanks, we're okay. And by the way, my wife was about 3 months pregnant, okay? And we ended up, so where the photo was taken here, the bar is like right around here too. And we went and found a beach, like a lounge chair on the other side of this bridge. And we were setting up, starting to soak in some rays. The same server comes over, finds us hiding behind this bridge, and he's got 2 frozen drinks. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be the biggest jerk. I got to turn this guy down. And he went all this way to find us. And I said, hey, thank you so much, but we really don't drink. And my wife's pregnant. And he's like, oh, I saw that your wife was pregnant, and I just assumed that you didn't want alcohol. And so I made it without alcohol. And we're like, what? Who does that? Later, I talked to him. I said, how do you guys get this? How do you guys become so service-oriented? It takes them 3 months of training, customer training, and then they're on like a probationary period where they're like shadowed by like a manager to make sure that they are taking care of the guests in the highest possible way. I spent a week there. There is a bubble of joy and wonderment, better than Disneyland, over a Four Seasons resort. because the culture is so real and so different that you walk in and you're like, hello, Mr. Harker, how are you today? I'm like, how do you know my name? I don't know. How do you know my name? You go to breakfast, they knew what you had for breakfast. They say, hey, would you like what you had before, Mr. Harker? I'm like, why does everybody know my name? I love this place. When I get rich, I'm going to come to Four Seasons all the time. They are, when people say, oh, our people are what make us different. The Four Seasons have a right to say that, but it's not their people. It's their process. They've invested in training to get their people to be great. And it's a consistent process, all right? So we've talked about the 6 ingredients of great branding. We've talked about how Maverick went from a country western brand to an adventure brand with a very clear brand lens. And we also talked about some other remarkable brands that are doing some really cool things to get our attention and convey their unique point of difference to us. I hope this presentation, I've been able to spark enough ideas for you to go back and ignite your own remarkable brand. Thank you, guys.